Welcome to this explainer on Chapter 6 of Traction, where we're going to unpack the issues component. You know the feeling, right? If you're a business owner or a leader trying to implement the entrepreneurial operating system, you probably know this frustration intimately. You've got these recurring problems that just seem to drain your company's energy day in and day out. You're sitting in meetings week after week, watching the exact same roadblocks pop up, completely stalling your team's momentum. Well, today, we're going to walk through a highly practical system to finally identify and solve those issues for good instead of just talking about them in endless circles.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll cover the cost of unresolved issues, creating your issues lists, the 3 steps of the IDS track, identify, discuss, and solve, and finally, 5 actions to take now. Section 1. The cost of unresolved issues, draining your company's energy.
To kick things off, the author Gino Wickman hits the nail on the head with a brilliant metaphor. He says, problems are like mushrooms. When it's dark and rainy, they multiply. Under bright light, they diminish. Look, most leadership teams spend endless hours discussing the heck out of everything, but they rarely actually solve anything. These unresolved issues, they act like heavy anchors on your business. Just like that mushroom metaphor teaches us, you've got to bring these problems into the bright light. But to do that effectively, you absolutely need an open, honest culture where people aren't terrified of losing their jobs just for speaking up. And honestly, that level of trust has to start with you, the leader, actively admitting your own mistakes first.
When you look at the broader EOS model, the issues component really is a foundational pillar. Once your vision is clear and your people are in the right seats, the transparency that results is naturally going to smoke out the obstacles holding you back. There is simply nowhere left to hide. And hey, that's actually a really good thing. It means you can finally capture these underlying issues, face them head on, and actually deal with them so you can move forward.
Section 2. Creating your issues lists. Compartmentalize your obstacles.
To build this discipline of keeping everything out in the open, you've got to compartmentalize your problems. Not every issue belongs in the same meeting, and treating them like they do is a surefire way to burn out your team. You really need 3 distinct lists. Step 1 is your Vision/Traction Organizer, or VTO list. Think of this as the parking lot for long-term issues, stuff that can wait beyond 90 days, like a future office move or a new product idea. Step 2 is the weekly leadership list. These are the high-level strategic obstacles for this quarter that have to be resolved by the leadership team. And step 3 is the departmental list. The big takeaway here is preserving your leadership team's time. If a problem is on the ground and local, say a sales team missing their call numbers, it belongs on the departmental list. Push it down to where it can actually be solved, so your leadership team doesn't get totally bogged down in the weeds.
Got a closed-off team? Here's a crazy but highly effective tactic. If you're struggling to get your people to open up and populate these lists initially, try a trick from one of Wickman's clients. Literally make it mandatory. Tell your team that everyone must bring 2 issues to the next meeting, or they just can't attend. Sounds incredibly strict, right? But it absolutely forces the floodgates open. Once people realize it's genuinely safe to share and that they aren't going to be punished for raising a red flag, those issues will start flowing freely all on their own.
Section 3. The IDS track. Identify, digging for the root cause.
Okay, so you have your list. Whenever you meet, never just start at the top and work your way down. Always pick the top 3 highest priorities and attack them using the issues solving track, or IDS. Let's start with the first step, identify. There's a great example from the source material. Imagine John, the warehouse manager, complains that his customers are way too demanding about delivery times. Well, that's the stated problem. But as you bat the issue back and forth, you might realize the communication process is actually broken. Or, digging even deeper, you might discover the true root cause. John himself might just be in the wrong seat. The stated problem is almost never the real issue. You really have to get a little uncomfortable and rigorously dig for the root cause before you can solve a thing.
During this identify phase, it's also incredibly practical for the person who brought the issue to state exactly what type of issue it is. There are basically 3 buckets. First, a true problem that actually needs solving. Second, information that just needs to be communicated and agreed upon. Or third, an idea that just needs some feedback or a green light. Stating this right up front ensures the whole team knows exactly what the objective is. It saves everyone a massive amount of time and stops all that aimless debating.
Section 4. The IDS track. Discuss, keeping the team focused.
Only after the real issue is clearly identified do you move to the discuss step. This is where all the relevant data, the available options, and team concerns are openly debated.
But here's the trap. Human beings love to discuss things ad nauseum. Sometimes it's just to hear themselves talk or subconsciously to avoid making a hard choice. Because it's so easy for discussions to veer off track, you have to empower anyone on your team to call out a friendly tangent alert. Seriously, just yell it out loud. It steers the meeting right back to the core issue. If the tangent is actually a real problem, fine, throw it onto the issues list to be prioritized later and immediately get back to the matter at hand.
Section 5. The IDS track. Solve. Making the problem go away forever.
The final step of the IDS track is solve. And this means putting an end to the days of jury-rigging your business problems with duct tape and twine, only to watch them break again next week. Resolving an issue generally looks like one of three things. Number 1, a concrete action item is clearly assigned to a specific person. Number 2, you achieve general team-wide awareness and solid agreement on a new policy. Or, number 3, someone is assigned an action item to go gather more specific facts so the issue can be conclusively solved at the next meeting.
This brings us to the most critical moment of your meeting. To know the issue is actually resolved, someone has to speak a clear solution statement out loud. For example, Barbara will sit down with John to discuss his performance, and if he doesn't improve, we'll part ways. Once that is spoken, you need to hear the sweet sound of verbal agreement from everyone in the room. And hey, if someone says, wait, that's not what I heard, that is perfectly fine. In fact, it's essential. It means you need to keep discussing until you have true clarity and total alignment across the team.
Now, sometimes the root cause of your company's stagnation is actually interpersonal conflict. If team members are constantly at odds and it's blocking progress, you can't just ignore it and hope it goes away. You've got to run a facilitated personal issues solving session. You literally sit the two individuals down with a third-party facilitator, have each person list what they believe are the other's 3 greatest strengths and 3 greatest weaknesses. It clears the air, it resolves that underlying unspoken tension, and it allows the team to actually function cohesively once again.
Section 6. 5 actions to take now. Your immediate implementation plan. So, to stop the cycle of endless discussions and unresolved problems, here's the concrete blueprint of 5 actions you must take immediately following this explainer. 1. Build an open, trust-based culture. And remember, that starts by you, the leader, actively admitting your own mistakes first. 2. Set up your 3 compartmentalized issues lists so you know exactly what problems belong in which meetings: the VTO, the leadership list, and the departmental list. 3. When meeting, always prioritize and pick your top 3 issues. Do not just lazily read down the list in order. 4. Strictly implement the identify, discuss, and solve track to eliminate tangents. And 5. Tackle those difficult interpersonal conflicts head-on using facilitated personal sessions before they totally poison the company culture.
When you step back and look at the whole system, you realize how straightforward this really is. It's simply about creating an open environment, diligently utilizing your 3 lists, and strictly adhering to the IDS track without letting tangents hijack your time. By committing to these essential steps, you're going to transform your company from a frustrated group of people who just complain about obstacles into a highly efficient, unstoppable problem-solving machine.
I leave you with this final, provocative thought, and I really want you to be honest with yourself here. What is the one massive issue you've been actively avoiding that is holding your entire company back right now? Find it, pull it into the bright light, and IDS it today. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.